A forum of technocrats and professionals in the All Progressives Congress have commended President Bola Tinubu for the economic reforms he introduced to tackle the lingering challenges in the country. At a news briefing in Abuja, former Bauchi Governor Yuguda says the decision to discontinue fuel subsidy since June 2023 has led to a quantum increase in monthly allocations from the federation account to the sub-nationals, with states and local governments getting almost 70% more than what they were receiving before the end of fuel subsidy. He revealed that only a handful of states have introduced meaningful measures to cushion the effect of the removal of subsidy, which has continued to put pressure on the government at the center.
It's a need for the governors to be talking to the people and also for them to use these monies to support services, to support health, support education, and of course, the rising cost of food in the market. They can subsidize it because we know this is not going to take a long time. So the governors should support Mr. President so that all the policies of government are seen to be implemented for the benefit of our people, so that people will not sleep with their families without food.
Now, for more on the economic reform of President Tinubu, the APC Deputy Chairman, Canada Chapter, Abiola Oshodi, joins me on the news. He joins me virtually. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me in the studio again.
So, just commending President, that's a former Bauchi Governor, Yuguda, who was commending President Bola Tinubu there for the reforms and talked about the increase in monthly allocation. A lot of people will say, look, whether that has trickled down to the citizenry remains to be seen, especially in terms of the food crisis we're having at this moment. I want to get your reaction on the impact of the fuel subsidy and how that ties into food security.
Yeah, thanks for that important question. I think most experts, both within and from without, will agree that this fuel subsidy had to go, including the people that even contested with President Bola Tinubu, Alhaji Abubakar Atiku and Mr. Peter Obi, both said that subsidy had to go. And the question is that we are currently facing is whether the whatever is accruing from the subsidy removal is actually being felt positively by the people at the grassroots. I think that's a critical question, that or the critical challenge that the Abuja administration is facing. I personally would have preferred a situation where the gains of fuel subsidy removal is directly targeted at some critical intervention programs. For example, if you go back to the era of General Sani Abacha, he established what they call Petroleum Trust Fund at the time. And I was in medical school, and we had a lot of intervention in terms of provision of surgical gowns, loss of textbooks, and a lot of the government hospitals were flooded with PTF medications at the time. So you could get medications free of charge, anti-malaria, some generic antibiotics, and a lot of other interventions. I would have preferred, that the subsidy funds are channeled directly to such critical intervention. Yes, the amount being given to states and local governments have increased, but the common people on the street are not feeling that impact. Again, we know a lot of corruption in the system. So the government at the federal is trying its best, but it's not being felt at the bottom by the people. That's my opinion on that. And obviously that ties into the challenges that an average Nigerian faces in terms of the food crisis and inflationary pressure that is currently bedeviling the system.
And right now, as we speak, the president, has signed. President is in Qatar and has signed memorandum of understanding with some investors there. According to the report, we're going to see them coming to the country. The Minister of Finance will intervene, the president is back. I just wanted to make that correction. He was in Qatar some days ago where, memorandum of understanding was signed. And the president said, look, the Minister of Finance and the coordinating Minister of the Economy will interface with them. But for a lot of people, they just want to see investments that come into the country and can actually make impact on the economy in a way that also impacts on their lives. And people are also saying the intervention fund, like you just mentioned, the intervention that is needed is the refinery. That way, we refine here and prices of fuel can go down. I just want to get your thoughts on that trip by the president, how we can trickle down in a way that everyone benefits.
I think with respect to fixing the refineries and the prices coming down, I'm not sure that is the right approach because we'll be back to subsidy again. And people often ask me this issue of subsidy, what's it about? In as much as we continue, number one, to sell at flat prices. So if oil is selling for 600 in Lagos, it's selling for 600 in Kaduna or Maiduguri, somebody is paying the difference. It shouldn't be so. It has to be totally decentralized, totally deregulated. So fuel cannot be selling at the same price in Lagos, same price in Port Harcourt and same price in Borno. It doesn't make any economic sense. So somebody is still subsidizing. In terms of making the gains of the subsidy removal to trickle down to the citizens, I think the president needs to come, with a very, very robust program, and ensure that the gains of the subsidy removal are channeled to some critical interventions, that would affect positively, the ordinary citizens. Some of the suggestions that we gave in the past is, providing either subsidized or free medications or medical services to a lot of our people. You can invest a lot in generic anti-malaria drugs, antibiotics, and obstetric care and gynecological care. A lot of these interventions will be directly felt by the people, and even direct investment in some of our farmers, that have been identified will help a lot in ameliorating the food insecurity and the challenges that we are facing, amongst a lot of other critical intervention. I would have preferred a system that targets those critical areas than a situation where you are giving more funds to the states and local government. Obviously, they need more funds to perform their constitutional roles. I don't think the entire funds should have been given to them. I think that's where I differ a little bit.
All right, so let's talk about the Oronsaye report. You had, I don't know if you listened to my conversation with the president of the senior civil servants. He's of the opinion that the organized labor should be involved in the implementation of that particular report. A lot of reactions on the implementation. What would be your recommendation?
The Oronsaye report, as beautiful and as comprehensive as it is, had been produced more than 12 years ago without it being implemented. So I think at the time it was produced, it estimated that it would have saved the government close to ₦1 trillion if the report had been implemented. We don't know the quantitative value of what that means in Naira today, how much it will save the government. So I think I'm of the opinion that the report needs to be reviewed and updated to highlight or to be in tandem with the current realities on ground before its implementation. I support the implementation 100%. Does the organized labor need to be involved? Probably yes, but beyond the organized labor, other critical stakeholders also need to be involved, because at the moment, one of the challenges we are facing is that we have so many parastatals and the functions sometimes overlap. You have 3-4 agencies doing the same thing or doing similar things when they can be collapsed under one structure to offer a much more effective service. And if we need to create more, we should target some other agencies, especially that will provide security, to our farmers. I think one of the policies that came out recently is that the federal government was going to establish forest rangers, to make sure that all our forests and farms are secure. So you need some critical intervention in some of those areas that will provide security and be able to kickstart the economy.
Thank you so much for your time. One can only say that there's a lot on the president's table at this moment. He has continued to promise that it can only get better. We'll see how it plays out. The APC Deputy Chairman, Canada Chapter, Abiola Oshodi, thanks for talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's now turn to the aviation sector.